Hello, hockey fans. My name is David. Thought I would start this message, this video, on the morning of Monday, 10th of October, 6:10 North American Eastern Time. Just thought I would do is just try to respond to a YouTube video posted on the YouTube channel SDPN, basically Steve Dangle podcast, podcast about which I'd heard in June of last year, after the Leafs had been eliminated in 7 games by the Habs, after having blown a 3-1 series lead in that playoff series. Very interesting claim made by the co-hosts of that podcast about the Jets' 2022-23 regular season preview, but how supposedly the Jets would end up playing rather badly. But before I get into how good the Jets did during the preseason, I thought I would do is go through each of the teams, each of the Canadian teams, and find out what teams they got to play during the preseason. So I'm going to start off with the Habs. The Habs got to play mostly teams within their own division, but, teams from Canada. But they did start off by hosting the New Jersey Devils before playing the Leafs, before heading down to Scotiabank Arena to play the Leafs, before heading back to play the Jets the following evening, then the Senators last weekend on Saturday, and then last week on Monday head home to play the Leafs before heading out to, before finishing their preseason with 3 games in a row against Senators. 2 of them treated as home games, the other treated as a road game. The Thursday game last Thursday over in Gander in the northeastern part of the island of Newfoundland, and then over on Saturday in Bouctouche in the southeast of New Brunswick, in a predominantly French-speaking part of that mainland Atlantic province. Very strange. Had to do with some sort of craft hockeyville that the Habs played. Habs and Senators played 2 games. Doesn't really matter whether one's at home, one's away. It's either though kind of like they all came out in the wash. Very unusual. So the Habs played the Jets, the only team they played outside their own time zone, and the only other team they played outside their own region, the Devils. But with the Devils having to come up from Greater New York City area, Canucks. So this season, the preseason, started off with 2 games on the same day against the Calgary Flames. Then it was home and home with the Seattle Kraken, home and home with the Oilers, and then it was a home game against the Coyotes. So the Canucks didn't really head outside of Alberta or BC. Alberta, BC, or the state of Washington. So kind of like more regional. I'm going to go to the Calgary Flames, play the Canucks twice. Then it was against the Kraken in Seattle, host the Oilers, then played on the road against the Oilers, and then host the Kraken, and went over, then finished off the preseason with a home and home against the Winnipeg Jets. So the Jets played well the Oilers. Oilers at home. Oilers in Alberta. Senators at home. Habs in Montreal. Oilers at home. Flames at home. Flames on the road. Doing pretty good. Winning the last game 5-3. So definitely have momentum. Leafs kind of, well, didn't really go anywhere outside of Canada other than to play the Red Wings at Little Caesars Arena. No, finished off with a bang. 5-1. And then, all right, go with the Oilers. Well, kind of. Did they really go anywhere outside? Well, yeah, they played the Jets and the Canucks, but pretty much Jets, Canucks, and Kraken. Otherwise, didn't do much of anything. More regional games than anything else. Not going too far. Not going more than 3 hours or so by air. The Senators play the Habs a lot, but also the Sabres in Buffalo, the Leafs in Toronto, host the Bruins, host the Capitals. Excuse me, before I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. So during the preseason, the Senators played 2 games in Toronto against the local Leaf squad. One in the afternoon on the 24th, one in the evening. Then on the road against the Jets, hosted the Leafs in Belleville. Then it was in Belleville, Ontario, and then there's this whole series against the Habs, like 4 games in a row, kind of unusual, but what can you do? And that's about it. So now I'm going to get into the preseason games, preseason standings according to ESPN. Just going to head on there. Just going to let's see how well the Canadian teams did. And so I thought it would start in terms of points per game, average points per game. I would say the Winnipeg Jets were pretty good. 9 points over 6 games, an average of 1.5 points per game, with a shootout loss, 4 wins, and a regulation loss. 2 consecutive wins, so I'd say that's pretty good. And all the wins came in regulation, so that's another encouraging sign. Surprisingly, that was a surprise to me that the Jets so disorganized, all these problems, locker room and all that, did pretty good. I'll say that the Leafs are another surprise, given all the problems, all the changes. Matt Murray and Ilya Samsonov were supposed to be, not necessarily going to be the best in the world, but both of them did quite well during the preseason. Time will tell if they can, against tougher competition, whether either of them can withstand the competition, because again, Jack Campbell departed Leafs in free agency. Dudes kind of knew that a little bit, kind of around July or so. So Matt Murray, time to get him for the Senators, and then wait for free agency to acquire another. So we'll see what happens. But again, Leafs with an average of just over 1.4 points per game, with 5 wins and 2 regulation losses. With good enough for 10 points over 7 games. Pretty good. So, I'd say that when it comes to a tie between the Senators and Oilers, with 5 wins, in terms of 10 points. 10 points for each team over 8 games, so 1.25 for each of those Canadian teams. So I've covered 3. So now I thought I would do is, alright, so I'm going to go to, what have I not have? Flames, Habs, Flames, Canucks, and Habs. So Flames, 8 points over 8 games, so an average of 1 point per game. The Canucks, well, they didn't having lost 2 consecutive games. Not good for the coming regular season. See what happens. Maybe the Flames do better against, more of the interdivisional opponents. We'll see. So, 8 points over 8 games. Not great. Lost 2 in a row. The Oilers won their last game. The Canucks won 2 consecutive games to end off their preseason with 6 points over 7 games. So, just under a point per game. So, we'll see what happens. I'd hope one would have expected the Canucks to have done quite a bit better, considering, the bump under Bruce Boudreau as head coach last season. But nope, didn't occur. Now we go to way to the bottom, the Habs, with just 2 points over 8 games, so an average of just a quarter of a point per game. Not good. So I didn't expect the Habs to do really good. In fact, they didn't even get there's one comment from on a Sportsnet article that I wrote, talking about the Habs, claimed by someone of the Habs were going to, bottom out a little bit, at least get a top 3 draft pick or whatever. I don't know. Have to look it up. But there's no doubt whatsoever that the Habs, unsurprisingly, didn't do too well during their preseason. It's a mess over there. It didn't win any games that would be considered home ones. But to be fair, I didn't expect much of that. I mean, the Habs will be lucky to finish 5th or higher in the Atlantic during the regular season. Who knows how they'll do? It'll be interesting. There are some, the draft picks, whatever. But whatever it is, there's no doubt whatsoever. The Jets have done surprisingly well. They did surprisingly well during the preseason. We'll see what they do. And, that's really what it is. All right, where are the Jets here? All right, so during the regular season, so they start off next week on Friday at home to the Rangers. And then this week on Friday, next week on Monday, it's on the road against the Dallas Stars. And then Wednesday against the Habs at Ball Arena. The evening after that, it's off to Vegas to play the local Golden Knights squad. And Saturday, they'll be hosting the Leafs. And then 2 weeks from now, Monday, the Blues. Before heading back on the road later on that week, on the Friday and Saturday, respectively, to play the Kings and Coyotes. On the 30th of October, to end the month, on the road against the Golden Knights. So, 2 road games against the Golden Knights. Interesting. No home games against the Vegas team. But they do get some time off before they host the Habs. So that's pretty much what the Jets are doing. They're getting to play mostly, a couple of Eastern Conference teams. Well, 2 Eastern Conference teams. The Leafs and Rangers for separate divisions. From outside the division, from Western Conference teams, Golden Knights, Kings. Yeah, Golden Knights and Kings. Among Pacific Division teams, the other Western Conference teams are all Central Division ones. It's going to be interesting to find out how the Jets do against those Central Division teams, in particular against teams that last season made the playoff: Dallas Stars, Colorado Avalanche, St. Louis Blues. Yeah, Coyotes. We shall see. Anyway, hoping that a Canadian team other than the Habs will win a Stanley Cup in 2023. Because the Habs won so many Stanley Cups after 1967. I believe it's just time for the Canucks, Flames, Oilers, Jets, Leafs, or Senators to win a Stanley Cup. But we'll see if that does happen. But whatever it is, look forward to some entertaining hockey. And also, to conclude this video, I say, go Leafs go.